for a loop, but then I looked in the mirror and I realized I'm sporting some colors that don't occur in nature either. So here we sit.
This is a shirt that my wife picked out for me, and I just don't question it. I just go, oh, you think that? Okay, I'll wear that.
So did you evolve into that level of perpetual acquiescence, or was it just good instincts from the beginning?
It took me a long time to learn that. Yeah, it took a while. I just went, about 5 years ago, I think, I just went, oh, this isn't worth fighting about.
Right.
Because I never win.
What a silly hill to die on, or even get wounded on.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight anymore.
Speaking of which, Chuck told me a funny story about you. I think that the day you guys met,
right?
How long ago would that have been?
10 years?
Chuck had told me that the day you guys met, you came over to his apartment.
Yeah, and I said, can I smoke a cigar here? And he said, no.
I'm like,
and I said, well, let's go to my house then. I've got a room that you can smoke a cigar in. I mean,
you've got rooms where you have to smoke cigars.
That's right. It's required.
I was fresh out of those kinds of rooms.
Yeah. Right. So did you hesitate, Chuck, for a moment, knowing that an actor you admired a great deal and had watched over the years was suddenly in your home making an indecent proposal, and you had to give him the bad news? Like, did you think about saying, yeah, screw it?
Not even for a second.
Really?
It was immediate. It was like, no. I think I said it just like that.
I think he did.
No.
I think he
high-pitched and womanly.
I remember that tone. It was kind of whiny.
No.
Yeah.
Here, wear this shirt.
It was like, it sounded more like, ooh, than no.
I don't have much of a cigar story, but something deeply humiliating happened to me. About 4 months ago, I did Joe Rogan's podcast. And, we sat down and got everything squared away, and you kind of hunker in because you're going to be there for 3 hours.
Right. Yeah, you got to relax. Yeah.
It's a commitment.
Yeah.
And so he's like, hey, you want a cigar? And unlike Chuck, like the honest answer was, without the high pitch part, it was just like, no, man, I'm not going to smoke a cigar. I'm going to sit down and talk with you for a while, and it's a small room. Like all the smoke. What are we doing?
Right.
Is there going to be whiskey too? If so, maybe.
Right.
But of course, I said, oh yeah, that'd be great. So he hands me a cigar, and then he rolls this device from the future across the desk, which of course is just a lighter. But there have been like the last time I smoked a cigar, I struck a match on a brick.
Big match.
Yes. Yeah. This thing has got like rocket fuel in it, and it's like air fed and
yeah.
And it took me like 2 minutes to figure out how to operate it, and then of course I'm just it's the first big drag I took, and I was right in the middle of telling some story. Like the part of my brain that I wanted to work tried to say, it's like that scene in Young Frankenstein when Gene Hackman, offers cigars to the creature.
Right.
But I conflated it with Blazing Saddles, and I got everything all wrong. And Joe's
you were
like,
high from the cigar.
I'm high from the cigar, embarrassed because I can't operate the lighter. And Joe's like, no, man, I didn't see that scene. So I really came out of the gate weak. Right. What are you in the midst of right now? I got so many things I want to talk to you about, but capital punishment, obviously, and everything that's happened since then, and what a strange time it must be for you to see the headlines.
Yeah.
I mean, are you feeling, vindicated at all?
Yeah, I mean, more and more, I'm beginning to feel vindicated. I mean, the truth is coming out, and we made the first documentary, Capital Punishment, in 2021.
Yeah.
Like November, we released it, same year of January 6th. So we were kind of like piecing it together and hinting at things. But no, it's been, I mean, I was overjoyed when Trump pardoned the January 6 people, because I had, by this point, I'd interviewed 65 or 70 of them, and I'd gotten to know them, and some of them had become friends, and I knew what kind of people they were. And I was just, there's that pins and needles kind of thing leading up to it. After he got elected, it's like, is he really going to do it?
Mm-hmm. So many people there seem to experience such a different thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And that level of ambiguity and experiential difference seemed undeniable, and yet there was so much certainty in the narrative. And that's what freaked me out, Nick, honestly.
And that's why I kind of wound up going down that road, because I was there that day. I was there on January 6th, and what I saw was people praying and singing hymns, and people were joyful.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I really didn't see any of the violence. I didn't see what they were showing me on television, and I was there. So that was sort of what sent us down the road of like, let's figure this out. Somebody said, would you like to make a documentary about that? And I said, sure, I would like to.
And I remember, too, after talking to you, thinking, boy, somebody's going to pick this up in a hurry. This is going to go tearing through the corridors at Fox. It's going to go tearing through. And, Matt, nobody touched it.
No.
They were scared. The people were straight up, flat out scared.
Yeah, Fox wouldn't even let us buy advertisements for the movie because I think they were in the midst of that whole, election. They were being sued and whatever.
Yeah, $980 million among friends, but whatever.
Yeah, but they were afraid to have anything on that might jeopardize that, I guess. And so, but yeah, it wasn't just Fox. I mean, everybody was kind of nervous about it, and we were coming out strong saying, this is all a lie. They're lying to you. Listen to us,
Yeah.
And nobody really wanted to jump in and go endorse that, because we were pushing it pretty hard.
So what am I looking at here? Is this a sequel of sorts?
We made a sequel to Capital Punishment called The War on Truth, which is now, the first edit of it was 4.5 hours long. We cut it down to 2. Mm-hmm. And then we decided to release it in 4 parts. So now it's a 4-part miniseries. Mostly what The War on Truth is about is revealing who these people are that the government has been telling you are domestic terrorists and white supremacists and violent, hateful people. And they're nothing of the sort. And that should give you some idea of how deep the lie goes. Because they have to demonize these people in order to preserve the narrative.
Yeah.
If they can't keep the idea going that January 6th was a violent uprising by people who wanted to overthrow the government, then everything crumbles around them.
Institutions are still, I think, operating at all-time low levels of trust in general. Certainly the media has got an awful lot on them right now as people are grappling to get up to speed with the fact that there really and truly was a cover-up. Mm-hmm. Is that going to break what you would call the spell surrounding this day?
I don't know. It's like I keep telling people, ask me that, and I say I don't know what they do if they give up the lie. It's like if they admit that they lied that profoundly for that long, the only consequences for them have to be legal. I mean, they have to go to jail. So I think their only chance is to try to continue to push the lie. And that's why we're still getting pushback on our movie and on the things that we're saying. There's still a lot of fear about coming out and saying exactly what happened.
So, I mean, just to remind people, though, the movie wasn't, it didn't leave me feeling like you were denying any of what we saw on TV.
Yeah.
It was more like the blind guy grabbing the tusk on the elephant and concluding that he was holding on to an ivory statue.
Right.
Right. You just didn't see enough to understand in context the totality of what happened. Say hello to my little friends. Not so little, actually. That is a bone-in, thick-cut ribeye next to a New York strip, both of which are going on the grill in about 60 seconds because I'm starving. But before I eat, I thought you might like to know that last year, 4 billion pounds of meat was imported into this country. 4 billion pounds, that's 2 million tons, and sold in grocery stores with labels on the packages that said, product of the United States of America. I find that kind of deceptive. In fact, when I dove in and learned the extent of the scam that this whole USDA labeling thing really is, I went down a rabbit hole and tried to find a trustworthy source, a place where I knew where my meat was coming from. It's Good Ranchers. That's what I settled on. I've been enjoying their product now for about 4 months, and I'm excited to ask you to go to goodranchers.com/Mike to see what they're doing different. The short answer is pretty much everything. There must be 20,000 5-star reviews here. You can see at a glance. It's meat with a mission. When you subscribe, you save $25 automatically every month. You get free shipping. You also get a free gift. It's basically free meat for life. Could be a Wagyu burger or two. It could be bacon. It could be all beef hot dogs. They do everything right. I love them. The food is delicious. Try it. Save $40 on your first order. GoodRanchers.com/Mike. That's GoodRanchers.com/Mike. I would love to chat, but I'm famished.
If you could eat a steer, if you could eat a cow, don't take a chance on a foreign ranch. Get Good Ranchers now.
But also, I mean, what we did see, what we found out later, even after we made the first film, we had hints of it. It's like we had footage of people changing clothes in the bushes and changing out of their gear into Trump gear. And we were going, what is that about? These people are obviously not actual sincere Trump supporters. These are people that were sent there to do some damage, to cause some ruckus. And that is coming out, you know, more and more. That's being shown to be true. And we hinted in the first movies, like, there's a lot of reports that there were people from the government that infiltrated the crowd that caused a lot of the vandalism, that incited the crowd to do some things. Yeah, some of the people did some bad things, but what caused them to do it? And in the War on Truth, you see more and more that the Capitol Police were actually the aggressors in the situation. You had a huge crowd outside the Capitol that was out there just singing songs and doing nothing, and the Capitol Police began firing munitions into the middle of the crowd.
What kind of munitions?
Flashbangs, tear gas canisters, rubber bullets in many cases. There's one guy that got hit by the rubber bullet in the cheek. And when it happened, the people in the crowd were screaming, "What are you doing? Why are you firing at us?" So that kind of thing that's not come out yet as clearly as it should, because the Capitol Police were the aggressors. And in War on Truth, we interviewed Tarek Johnson, who was a Capitol policeman that day, who testified that this was all a setup, that the Capitol Police were set up just as much as the crowd was. And Tarek Johnson is the one who cleared the House and Senate before the crowd got to them, because he knew that if the crowd had breached the House and Senate while the senators or the representatives were still in there, that would have been a situation where the Capitol Police would have had to open fire, because they're not allowed to do that. He was radioing his superior officers saying, let me clear the House and Senate, let me clear the chambers, and no response. He never got an okay, and then he did it on his own. He did it of his own volition. He cleared the House, he cleared the chambers, and he probably saved hundreds of lives. And then the next day after that, because he did that on his own, he was suspended for 17 months and on house arrest. So it's a big deal. It's a much bigger conspiracy than I can explain.
Well, you know, as a storyteller, it's really tempting when you know a thing is a big deal to talk about it in big terms.
Yeah.
You want to try and match the moment. But what I like what you've done with this film, and to some degree with the previous one, is you tell the small stories too.
Yeah.
And those, I think, are the ones that most people will be most horrified by, and the ones that are going to resonate. So we don't have to make a meal out of this, but I would like to hear briefly some of, people who've spent 8-9 months in jail for essentially being pushed into the Capitol.
Yeah.
With their cell phones on.
Like Colton McAbee was in jail for 4 years. He was in there for the whole time. And 3.5 of those years, he wasn't even charged. He couldn't even get bond. Couldn't get bonded out because he was classified as a domestic terrorist. And when you hear his story of what he actually did that day, he basically tried to save Roseanne Boylan's life and tried to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He fell down on top of a police officer who was pushed in by the crowd. And in the audio, you can hear him saying, "I'm trying to help," and the police officer goes, "I know you are, I know you are." And he helps him up, and the police officer says, "Thank you." In the trial, the judge wouldn't allow them to play the audio so that you could hear the police officer thanking Colton for helping him up. So if you just don't play the audio, it looks like Colton threw the guy down on the ground and then jerked him around, and that's the impression they were trying to give. And another story is my friend.
Sorry, Nick.
Go ahead.
Are you naming names? Like, what judge did that? Who decided to take the audio out of the tape? These things are outrageous to the point where it feels like they're coming out of a real thriller, a fictitious whodunit. It's you've got to be kidding me. They did this right in front of us.
I don't have the name of that judge off the top of my head, but I will say that a lot of the damage that was done to these people was in their communities, their reputations. They lost their businesses because the government put out this idea that everybody who went there was some sort of racist terrorist. So everybody, they're demonized in their communities. Their sandwich shops, their coffee shops, all these things that they owned are now getting terrible Yelp reviews and don't go eat at this place.
It's a scarlet letter.
Yeah. And my friend Jay Johnston, who was an actor like me, he was trapped in the tunnel fracas. And during that, it was a lot of pushing and shoving. During that whole melee, a police shield was passed back through the crowd, and Jay's a pretty big guy. And Jay, the shield was passed back to him. He took it and he just passed it on to somebody else. Well, that was characterized as attacking with a deadly weapon because he put his hands on the police shield. Jay was completely ostracized in Hollywood. It's not just what the government did. It's what the government narrative caused the community to do.
That's what they enabled.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember as a kid reading about, in the old Puritan days, like the hardest thing that could happen to a person was to be excommunicated, to be banished.
Yeah.
And, you don't think about that much. It just feels like an artifact of some old thing, but to not be able to go into your favorite diner, your sandwich shop, your church, the school.
Yeah.
It's
like, where do I go to get my reputation back?
Yeah.
Even though they've been pardoned, even though the legal trouble is over, but they're all like, where do I go to get my standing in the community back?
Well, look, that's the oldest dodge in journalism. When the headline's dead wrong, the correction shows up on the back of the bottom of the of the last page. But when you decided to make capital punishment, people got to remember that you did this right on the heels of this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you just literally walked up to the wood stove that you were absolutely conscious was roaring.
Right.
And you just put your hand on it as if to say, is this thing hot?
Right.
Was it?
I think for that first one, I didn't really question it. It was sort of like, okay, I've got to do this. There was never really a doubt in my mind. I said I knew that, there were going to be some repercussions from it, but I'd already directed Gosnell, the abortion movie.
Dodge that bullet.
Yeah, and so, I was kind of already exposed as one of those people anyway, in Hollywood, so I figure how much worse could it get,
But why are you still standing? I mean, if you think about the guy you just described, Jay. Was it Jay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, and so many others. I mean, you're a clear and present danger. You're a threat.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there have been jobs that I haven't gotten because of it, but I've continued to work enough.
You're too busy to miss the jobs you didn't get.
Yeah, right.
You don't even have an agent, do you?
No, I don't have one anymore. And the reason I don't have an agent is because I was talking to him. It was like right when Capital Punishment came out. I said, "What did you think of it?" And he goes, "I'm not going to watch that." I go, "You're not even going to watch it?" He said, "I'm not watching that. That was an insurrection, full stop, and I'm not going to watch that propaganda."
He wouldn't even watch 10% of it.
I said, "Well, yeah, right, exactly."
Jeez,
I should have used that line.
No
That's
kidding.
good. But I said, "I guess you don't want to be my agent, then. Why do you want to represent some insurrectionist? So I fired him, And ever since then, I've been some agents that have come sniffing around saying, I'd like to represent you. And I'd go, okay, run it by everybody else in your office. And then I never heard from them again.
Yep, because it goes that way too. Like the same way you get excommunicated in your neighborhood for being on the wrong side of that argument. Can you imagine working in the 10%ery in this town?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there must be some, but I don't.
I know it's a good friend of mine who got run out of being an agent for the same reasons. He was too open about what he thought. And I do know some other agents that are, at least a little bit on the right side of things. They can't really expose themselves to the rest of their agency because they would just be excommunicated.
What about the persuadables who are on the other side of the aisle? Your friend Graham.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
he wrote, I love your book, by the book is called Justify This, and here we'll shamelessly pivot to this for a moment, but it has 2 forewords.
Yeah. One from the right and one from the left.
Yeah. Which I think is terrific.
Yeah.
It's great that you would do that.
Yeah.
And talk about Graham, if you would.
Well, Graham and I have been friends for a long time. I met Graham on From the Earth to the Moon. He was one of the supervising producers, and the story I always tell is like for 15 years after From the Earth to the Moon, Graham was writing all these movies. He wrote Speed. He did Boomtown. He was doing all this stuff, and I'd be emailing him going, I thought we were friends. What? You don't ever have anything for me?
Yeah.
And so he said when he read the pilot for Justified, he said, finally, I've got something for Nick. I can shut him up. So that's kind of how I got into Justified.
But now, did you guys ever talk politically? Were you aware from whence the other was coming?
Well, Graham is very, very funny, has a great sense of humor, and we joke about it. He knows that I think he's a communist and whatever, But it's never been like we don't have arguments because we know there's no point.
Right.
I like Graham, he likes me. I like him as an artist, he liked me as an actor. So we never really had some big powwow about politics.
But look, I think that there was a time, and we're both old enough to remember, where that was the default.
Yeah.
It was simply, it's like, okay, we're not going to be singing together out of that hymn book, but look at all the other things we can do in life. And that to me is the great tragedy of the times
It
that
really
we're in
is.
now.
Well, when I was coming up, I got my career started in North Carolina in a regional market. And I knew people that were, we would have discussions in the waiting room for auditions, and it was never contentious. There were some guys that were Clinton people or whatever, we just talked about it. But then when by the time I got my career going, I moved to LA, I was like, I didn't realize that that wasn't the same in Los Angeles as it was in North Carolina. It was a bad thing if you really came out. And by the time I realized that, it was too late. So I just had to roll with it.
So when you read the pilot, I assume Graham sent it to you. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to the extent that he and you both were already familiar with Elmore Leonard and what, if anything, what kind of impression that guy had already made on you.
I had read a couple of his books. I mean, I wasn't like a big avid Elmore Leonard fan, but I read a couple of his books, and so I sort of got the tone of it. Mm-hmm. I got the snappy dialogue and the crispness of it.
Yeah. So was Art Mullen? Stupid question. You've had it 1,000 times, but I think I know the answer. That had to be a hinge in your curriculum vitae.
It was a great gift for that to come along at that point in my life. I was in my 50s, and it's like, you're kind of facing the over the hill gang. I'm getting ready to ride with those old men, but to get a part like that, at that stage in my life was just a great gift. And
when did you know it? Like, when did you know? I mean, obviously the offer was kind, and the fact that Chuck has yet to see the program is unforgivable.
What? What are you talking about?
I don't believe you're familiar with Justified at this
Every
point.
single episode I have seen.
Not one.
Right.
Not one.
Every single one.
He's just saying that to make me feel better. Is that what it is?
His wife Leslie is in it. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I binged it before we had him on the first time.
Oh, that's right. Because you
Yes.
hadn't seen any of it.
I
at
hadn't
that
seen
point.
it up until then, but you had been telling me about it for years.
For years.
Yeah.
Right. See, I am an Elmore. I feel like I knew the Harlan story, and I knew everything that came out in that first thing. And I didn't see it promoted. I didn't see it advertised. Which is almost impossible to do anymore. I just found it. Mm-hmm. And Nick, it was just one of those things where it's like reaching in your pocket of your old tuxedo and finding $200 in a money clip you didn't even know you had. Like going, wow. I'm so happy to find this.
Yeah.
And it was just terrific, man.
Yeah.
Just terrific.
It's a really good show, and for me personally, it's a tribute to my own father. It's like the way I played that character was like I just played him like my dad, because my dad was always a boss. He ran a restaurant, and he just had this really acerbic sense of humor and this really cutting way of keeping people in line, but in a way that was pleasant and funny.
Tough, kind.
Yeah.
With just enough world weary on you.
Yeah.
But not bitter.
Right. Right.
I mean, it was just terrific to
Yeah.
watch.
It was, and I'm very grateful for that.
When people stop you in airports, etc., it's usually for that.
Well, since I moved to Kentucky,
Oh boy.
I'm a huge star in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get recognized that much, but in Kentucky, I walk into a restaurant and they go, Art Mullen. Yeah,
Yeah.
They know. And
Have you been following Walton Goggins?
Yeah, he's done great. Yeah.
I mean, but again, we were just talking earlier. It's like, well, I've been following that guy for years, and then all of a sudden the White Lotus thing.
Yeah.
And now the country's like discovered him.
Yeah. He's blowing up. Yeah.
What a ride.
Yeah. No, he's done really well. I'm happy for him.
There's something about the business of writing a thing down
Yeah.
that obviously amplifies it in some way.
And there's a permanence to it. This is going to be around. I have to make sure that this
Spell
isn't
it right.
embarrassing. It's going to live for a while.
What about this thing, man? Where I'm Bound.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the movie I'm trying to put together. A friend of mine and I wrote this movie. His father, who is now a minister, sang in gospel quartets in the 60s. And a lot of my cousins were preachers, and my first cousin was a gospel singer. So he started we were doing a play together, this guy and I, and he started telling me the story about his father. And I said, that sounds like a movie, because the whole thing was about him going into the gospel music world and finding out that it was much more of a business than he thought it was.
Yeah.
He thought it was just, I'm going to be spreading the gospel, but he finds out that it's a little darkness there and a little bit more, what's the word? Calculated than he thought.
It is an extraordinarily deliberate world, and I don't know a ton about it, but here's this world where these musicians, many times without instruments, but sometimes with, are like on the circuit, making the rounds. It's like I don't know, oh brother, where art thou kind of vibe over the whole thing. What is it about that form of music that, in your view, that resonates so profoundly with some people, but is so just completely alien to others? It's so specific.
It is. It's a real interesting subculture. And that's kind of why I wanted to do the movie. There's never been anything about it, very little. The Righteous Gemstones thing, that's a parody, that. But it's I think it's like you said, it's the power of the harmonies, and it's that fascinating sort of mixture between sincere religious belief and showmanship.
That's it.
There it is. Because they are putting on a show, and they are selling something to the audience. above and beyond the sincerity of the message they're trying to deliver.
If you don't have an agent and if you're not playing the Hollywood game, then all of these projects become very personal, whether it's January 6th or whether it's Where I'm Bound,
Yeah.
right? And so something is certainly guiding you.
Well, something happened this year. I lost two of my best friends in the same week, right in the first week of January this year. My wife lost one of her best friends, and Chuck knows one of them, Loy, our friend Loy, who
Loy
I think
Edge.
was there the night that
Loy
I
Edge.
wanted to smoke cigars.
That's
in your
right.
car.
Yeah, you were coming to see Loy. He was staying with me. He was
Yeah.
visiting from Kansas City.
Voiceover guy.
Yeah,
That's correct. Yeah.
Loy Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very funny guy. I think I sent
wonderful
you.
guy. Yeah.
I sent you the audio of him singing a very funny song.
That song, I can't play any of it.
That's correct.
I would like to play all of it, but that was the filthiest song I've ever heard.
It's pretty dirty. Yeah.
It's pretty
But
awful.
pretty funny. Yeah.
It's like pretty dirty. That's like saying there are a lot of people in China.
That's right. Well, my buddy Rodney Carrington, who makes a living singing dirty songs.
Yeah.
Loy and I played it for him, and he's like, "That's too dirty. I can't do it. I can't record that."
True story. True story.
Oh my God. Well, I'm sorry for your loss.
But what I was saying is like that. Those losses really brought something home to me, which is like, I don't want to spend what time I have left doing something that I don't care about. I don't want to. I'm not like looking for a job anymore. I don't. I'm not rich, but I'm not going to starve, and I would rather spend my time doing things that it's worth taking me away from my home, from my family, it's worth me spending the time to make that movie.
Yeah.
So like when the manager calls and goes, "We got this thing, it's 3.5 months, you'll be in Vancouver." I go, "How much?"
Yeah. Right. Right.
I just don't want to. I don't want to waste any more time.
It's funny, and by funny I don't mean funny at all, but I mean human. How sometimes it's like something has to grab you by the lapels and shake you.
Yeah.
And
I just, it forces you to go, okay, realistically, I probably don't have 30 years. Maybe I've got 20. Maybe it's in the teens,
Right.
Do I want to, and I think of Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta, who I'd never worked with him, but I always looked up to him. And he dies in the Dominican Republic at 63.
Yeah.
Doing a little independent film, and I just go, I don't want to go that way.
No, it's the big chill.
Yeah.
You're right in that neighborhood too, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
63 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, he was something in Field of Dreams.
Oh.
It really snuck up on you.
Yeah.
That performance. you know?
And Goodfellas, and all,
Well,
lots of
Goodfellas didn't sneak up on me. That hit me like a.
Yeah.
But like the subtlety that he brought to that.
Yeah.
Just those couple of scenes. They're crazy how that, like what you do, what you've done. Those little moments that get just embedded in your crawl.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I've had a few of those, not many, but I never, I've been a character actor, and I've had a few little brushes at sort of doing something really memorable. Fried green tomatoes, maybe.
That was the
For
first one?
sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
that was-
sure.
You were the bad guy.
I was the bad guy. I was the wife-beating husband. But the funny thing is, whenever I meet a young lady that's in their 30s, and she goes, "You look really familiar," I'll start rattling things off. "No, I never saw that." I go, "Did you have the Disney Channel when you were a kid?" And she goes, "Yes." And I go, "Do you remember the movie Double Teamed?" And they were like, "You were the dad." It's like this TV movie about these two tall girls, and their mean dad made them play basketball, and then they wound up in the WNBA. Every woman 35 to 40 right now had the Disney Channel. They saw that movie 50 times. So that's what I'm most famous for.
What are you most proud of?
Well, outside of My personal life, you mean, outside of putting up with Leslie for 38 years.
Yes.
It's been tough.
Who I just met on the telephone, by the way. She sounds delightful.
She is.
She's great.
I don't know. I wouldn't be anything without her. Probably the thing I'm most proud of is Justified's up there. Fried Green Tomatoes is up there. But the documentaries, I think they're going to, they'll be out there. They're still haven't wound up on Amazon or, where I would like for them to be seen by people who didn't know it was coming, But I think those are going to be an important piece of history. I think I was able to chronicle something that most people ignored or didn't want to look at.
Or didn't have the guts to do themselves.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it's bravery or stupidity.
Well, I'm not sure. Like, what's really the difference other than, I guess, motive? Stupid doesn't have a motive,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Whether you're around another 10, 20, 30, 40 years or whatever, it's not up to you anymore, man.
Right.
You're the pitcher who let the ball go, and now it's out there,
Yeah.
and we'll see where it goes.
I think that's part of why I decided to make those movies, because when I would hear these people's stories, I would think back to where I was on that day. And like, if I had been where Colton was or where Jay Johnstone was, I might have done exactly what they did, and it would be me there instead of them.
Right.
So I think in some ways I look at that and I go, I think I was being protected that day so that I could tell the story, so that I would be able to make these films and tell these stories.
Is the wall of resistance coming down? Or do you feel like you're going to be able to get more? I hate to. It's just promotion.
Yeah.
Like, is anybody going to help you tell these stories?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I've had a little bit of a struggle with the producers of the movie, the people who funded it. They have a certain way that they want to do things, and I haven't been able to convince them otherwise. I've certainly reached out to Amazon and to companies to try to help me get these things. I want to just give it away at this point. I just want it to be on Amazon so that somebody could just go, what's this about? Because I'm tired of preaching to the choir. The only people that watch it are the people that already agree with me. I want to show it to some people, the persuadable people.
Yeah.
But I haven't figured it out yet. I got to keep turning it over in my mind,
What's the last great movie you saw?
Wow. It's going to be really old.
That says plenty.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a tough question.
Actually, does it mean you don't watch movies anymore, or you just haven't seen a great one in a while?
I don't watch very many. I watch a lot of documentaries and wrestling. I watch a lot of professional wrestling.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. I love it. I'm hooked on it.
Now, that actually makes an incredible amount of sense, juxtaposed with the showmanship that attracted you to a tent revival.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're still on that same sliding scale.
Well, just like 2 weeks, not even a week ago, there was a local wrestling show in Owensboro, Kentucky, and those are my favorite. I like the local wrestling more than I like the WWE.
Yeah.
Because you go there and those guys are trying to establish themselves, and they have to sell their characters the minute they come out.
Yeah.
And so they have to establish, is this the heel or is this the good guy or whatever? I love it. And the crowd, there's usually 300, 250, 300 people in the crowd, and they are real fans.
What's going on with this? Let's unpack it. And maybe that's because it's like it's not, never mind the tent revival, but it's like a monster truck pull.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's something completely without guile or pretense.
Right.
Like there's a bargain. Like we all know you're playing a character, and we all know that everything is an exaggerated version of something real, but we still go along for the ride. We willingly suspend disbelief.
And that's what I love so much about the wrestlers is that they have to be so good at acting that they make the crowd want to pay money to see them pretend to get the hell beaten out of them.
Right.
You know? It's
Right.
Because wrestling is always about the bad guy.
Right.
It's always about the heel making everybody so mad they're going, I'm going to go see that guy get killed because I don't like him, you know?
Right. So that's what? Catharsis. That's some,
Yeah.
you know, Aristotle or Plato would have something to say about that.
Well, it's protagonist and antagonist.
Right.
I remember when when Leslie and I first met, we were living in New York City, and we were talking, and she was like, "I've never been to a wrestling match." I'm like, "What? You've never been to a?" So like our second or third date was like I said, we're going to Madison Square Garden, and you're going to watch Hulk Hogan wrestle. You know?
Chuck, just for grins, I don't know if there's a picture out there, but Google my name next to WWE and Halloween Havoc.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You remember Halloween
I
Havoc?
remember you were on it. Yeah.
That must have been 25
It
years
was
ago.
1999 or something, probably.
Oh, yeah. I was in a very, very different part of my life where I would take any gig anywhere I didn't care.
Yeah.
But somehow or another, I got pulled into that world and I started doing these like ringside interviews. And I didn't know the world, Nick. I didn't know the world.
Yeah.
And I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I was an actor then. I was just acting like a host.
Right.
So I'm there in my stupid, you know, turtleneck, my big stick mic, interviewing these people who there must have been 30,000 people in this stadium, and I didn't know who the hell they were. They were all just dressed up, beating the hell out of each other.
That's hilarious.
And I felt like such a fraud, but I was so interested. Again, it's a world, man. It is a world.
Oh yeah. No, that's always been. I've always wanted to get on a WWE broadcast or something, or just even be in the crowd and they cut to me, but I'm not a big enough star for that. But I did get to do one wrestling match as a manager with Matt Hardy, one of the Hardy Boys.
Really?
Yeah, he and I got to be friends, and he said, I'm doing a match. He was wrestling with a group called Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm doing a match in Nashville. Do you want to come be my manager? Sure. You know, and this was when Justified was still going on. So I get there 2-3 hours early. It was a tag team match, Matt Hardy and Mike Bennett versus the Briscoe brothers. And I'm the manager. So I had like a black coat and, you know, glasses. And I'd brought my Peabody Award that I won on Justified.
Yeah.
So I was going out to the crowd going, this is an award for excellence in television, something you losers will never understand. And so they set up this gag that I'm going to throw my Peabody Award into the ring, and Matt's going to catch it and hit the guy with it and then try to pin him, and he kicks out. And so then I'm supposed to crawl into the ring and get my Peabody.
Get your Peabody.
Well, I get in the ring, and Briscoe brother grabs my Peabody and won't give it to me, and I'm going, you get your filthy hands off that award. And he said, and we set it up so that he would kick me in the stomach and hit me on the back, and I'd lay down, and his brother would jump off the top rope and drop the elbow on me, like an elbow drop off the top rope. And when we're setting this up, I'm like going, that sounds like it's going to be really funny, but won't that hurt?
It could hurt a lot.
And Jay Briscoe says, oh, yeah, you'll feel it, but it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I can't believe you actually saw that.
I've seen I've never missed one. My wife can vouch for that. I've never missed one.
That's the only picture I could find. So.
Well, that's as good as it gets, man. Look at that hair. That's a deep cut, Chuck.
That really is amazing.
Those were the days.
But that was WCW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look at the size of my head. I don't have a thought in there, Nick. All I know is there's some guy dressed up like a vampire on my right who I'm about to interview.
Yeah.
And some other gladiator type dude.
Vampira.
Vampire, yeah. Yeah. What about the UFC? Does that appeal?
I used to watch it with a friend of mine, but it makes me uncomfortable because they're really hitting each other.
They are beating absolute snot out of each other.
I like the fake stuff better because I know at least they're trying to not hurt each other.
Yeah.
It's a show, you know.
You know, I've Forrest Gumped my way into that too. I was in an office with Dana White, and the guy that used to produce Dirty Jobs, and he was pitching The Ultimate Fighter, the show.
Yeah.
And I walked in just in time to hear Craig Pelagian go, "Well, that's Mike. He's doing the Dirty Jobs. He does voiceover stuff." And Dana's like, "Yeah, I've seen you. Say something." And I said, "Previously on The Ultimate Fighter." And he said, "Yeah, fine. You're hired." Did 13 seasons.
Genius.
13 seasons.
You're a genius. You're hired.
But, I mean, who knew that The Ultimate Fighter would go on to eclipse really all of it?
All of it. Yeah. It's still going, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's huge.
Yeah.
But it just goes back to whether it's a tent revival or professional wrestling, ultimate fighting, boxing. It's gladiators.
Yeah.
It's are you not entertained?
Yeah.
And this whole quest to try and figure out what the hell does the audience want?
Yeah.
It's all Halloween havoc.
It is.
One way or another.
I mean, when Leslie was at the wrestling match watching Hulk Hogan, she looked around, and we were doing a play together at the time, and one night we had one person in the audience, and she's like looking around, there's 25,000 people there, and go, "Just think if this many people came to the theater." And I'm going, this is theater.
This is the theater. This is it. What's it feel like to do a play with one person in the audience?
In that situation, equity says that you can vote. If the cast outnumbers the audience, the cat has to vote.
True.
About whether they're not going to do it or not. So we all voted, yeah, let's do it. What the hell?
Call it a rehearsal.
Yeah, and so we did it, and like at intermission, we're like going, I think he likes it. We're all peeking through the curtain, It's like, he's still there. He's going to stay.
I think he likes it.
He laughed once. Yeah.
Oh man. God, I mean, how demoralizing if the guy has to go up to go to the can.
Oh yeah.
Listening like, we'll wait.
Yeah.
We'll wait.
Should we pause?
We'll just pause.
Should we just
for a
pause
minute.
here for a minute?
Yeah.
Wait for him
Take
to
a
get
yellow flag on this one.
Yeah.
Good God, what was the play? Do you remember?
Yeah. It was called the Kennedy Play.
Comedy.
It was like a Pirandello 6 characters in search of an author kind of play where we were all playing actors trying to put together a play about the Kennedy family.
Six actors in search of an audience.
Yeah,
It's more like
and that's why there was one person in the crowd.
It was not a good play, but we also had to improvise the relationships between the actors, and I improvised that I was in love with Leslie and she bought it. So that's how we got married. We met in that play.
You and your wife met during a production of a play with one person in the audience.
Well, some nights we had 9 or 10,
How many were at your wedding?
Oh, gosh, I think about 65, 70.
See, now that's a performance.
Yeah, that's right. And they had to come to North Carolina. We got married at my parents' house in North Carolina.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm happy doing what I'm doing now, and I'm really excited to see what happens to me now that I'm not really acting anymore,
It's like you're watching your life from an elevated height. Like you're the one guy in the audience looking at the Nick Searcy revival going,
Yeah.
I wonder how this is going to play.
And I think I'm the only guy interested.
I promise you, man, that's not true.
Hey, I want to say something. First of all, the book is called Justify This, and it is very funny. And I listened to the book.
Yeah.
And Nick reads it, and it's a great performance. And
Well,
Mike,
thank
I know,
God, man.
Yeah, I
Thank
know.
God.
We appreciate when authors actually read their books.
Well,
and
I tried to get a really good actor to do it, but they're too expensive.
But yeah, not
you
with
did
your
pretty
agent.
good. You did pretty good. Yeah.
And the dream project currently in the works is called Where I'm Bound.
Yep.
And
what is it called? The War on Truth,
War on
movie.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how do you see capital punishment?
It's on Rumble. If you do a search for Capital Punishment and Nick Searcy, you can watch it for free on Rumble.
it's quite a palette, folks, And for a guy without an agent who's being guided by apparently things that matter to him, good on you, man. I really wish more people had that compass.
Well, thanks, Mike. Thank you.
Best to Leslie.
Thank you.
I'll switch shirts with you if you want.
She's a big fan of yours, by the way.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of hers.
She's read your books, and
Well,
told me how good they were.
tell her I think she's a woman of exceeding taste and sophistication. I appreciate it.
Obviously.